Hi guys, here from Dubrovnik. It's very sunny. I took my hat here. It's also a bit windy. I hope you can understand me well. How is the audio? No response as always. Hi guys, this is Dubrovnik. It's beautiful town. It is very dynamic town. I love it. It's something very civilized. They have public toilets. They have great ships, and here this is enormous wealth accumulated here. Similar like Porto Montenegro, here as well. Dubrovnik is very dynamic city, even in the wind. It's a bit windy here. You see very nice children park, very nice dynamic place. I like it. Croatia obviously in NATO and in the EU and now the Eurozone. This is something to celebrate. I want to devote some time to celebrate this here now in this beautiful July 2022, when we have so many setbacks and the terror war of the Russians, and yes, they will be defeated. And here of course we have at least one significant piece of progress with the Eurozone integration of Croatia. This country was at war still not too long ago. Let's never forget, in 1995 the unity of this country was successfully achieved by the force of arms. We, the West, intervened heavily into this war and we succeeded. It was the war of liberation. Today still there is controversy about it, but see the success of the country now 20 years on. No, let's not say 20 years from 1995 to today. Things have dramatically improved here in this beautiful country, and they are really very successful here and a bit too happy with themselves maybe. That's always my critical point to Croatian foreign policy, to European policy. That's not good enough. We should be much better. Their role to promote the Western Balkans integration is certainly not as positive as I wish it. Yeah? And I will now make several calls for them to improve. That's a very nice place. I like it. I will eat here later. This is a nice ship actually here. The last time I was here in December, there was much less touristic development. Now that's the marketplace. I understand. Yeah. So I'm getting into it. Here this beautiful yacht is arriving. Wow, wow, wow. What a display of luxury and wealth available here in the summer. But coming from Montenegro, some few things can shock you. In that dimension, there is obviously much wealth at the Adriatic, and it was always relatively wealthy if it could be secure. The thing is here, the sea brings wealth, but brings insecurity because of piracy, risks and global misfortunes. And of course also Dubrovnik is hit again, but luckily they are in NATO, so they are safe and they are very good allies. Nobody here wants to join Open Balkans, quite obviously not, and there's a reason also. They don't have any kind of Yugo nostalgia you know, because it was basically a failed state, Yugoslavia. I was told not to pitch against Yugoslavia, but let's not be confused here. Yugoslavia was a socialist dictatorship, an economically failed system, which the United States, mainly with help of some minor European ally, has propped up in order to keep it out of the Soviet orbit. And Tito has played off everybody, as he always did, and as Vucic has learned from him. And we are no fools. I mean, you can tell this to some children, but I know exactly the economic history of Yugoslavia. I know how it looked like. I know exactly what Yugoslavia left over, and I know exactly what was already there in the situation when Yugoslavia was formed. Much of the infrastructure was already laid out by the Austrian-Hungarian monarchy, like the main ports, like the main railways and the main roads. This was a civilization, and probably also the water infrastructure, well, that I don't know in detail here. But much of it was done already in the century of, in some cases even longer, but in the century between the Vienna Congress and the Paris Peace. In this century, when the Adriatic was no longer Venetian, and by the way, most of the stone houses were not built by the Austrians, but by the Venetians. As you can easily see, this is not the Austrian palace, but the Venetian palace. It was Venice, basically Italy, Rome, obviously dominating the Adriatic. Austrians were lucky to gain it, the Eastern Adriatic, in the Vienna Congress. They dominated it for a century, and they at least developed it. Well, it was far from a democracy or any kind of, but there were some basic standards. Every time I go to a farmhouse family, they are telling me, why did we have to fight at the Isonzo? But they wanted to fight at the Isonzo because they didn't want to be Italians, because they probably thought that the Italians would treat them even worse than the Austrians. And they were absolutely right. So, and additionally, there was some basic human and property rights and some access to the law in the Austrian-Hungarian monarchy. So it was at least some level of decent governance and infrastructure development. And when you then look back, what happened after 1918, there was very few of that. And of course, they cannot blame the Yugoslavian authorities, neither for the Second World War. They were victims as well. Here it's very beautiful. This is Franjo Tuđman's bridge. And of course he is a very popular man, because back on the mountains here they were shelling this town, and he is the hero of Croatian freedom and independence. Of course, he is also a deeply problematic personality, have no doubt. I'm not here to defend him, but he has this bridge well deserved, and he is not the same as Milosevic and all there is at Begovic. They are heroes of European freedom, Tuđman and Izetbegovic, and Milosevic is a war criminal. Just to get that very right, because I get so much pushback on this Twitter feed of mine, and all this insult, calling me Nazi. Yes, guys, the war criminals of the Balkans decide who is a Nazi or not. Thank you very much. This is of course Austrian investment from Steiermark, and here I will walk and talk you through this beautiful city. It's very, very nice and beautiful. It has developed tremendously with the help of international investments. There are also fantastic hotels, but this is normally on the price level. I only can show you that if somebody invites me to join there. I was luckily twice in my life in some of them, but I prefer more the 50 euro price scale per night when I'm alone. That's completely fine for me, because this kind of 450 euro hotels would somehow explode my budget, because podcasting is not a big income. Actually, I'm just a hobby podcaster. And so I'm in the financial district, it seems, yeah? Here, all the people, they seem to have a cartel, and the banking fees are really very high. That's very annoying. I really think that's very annoying. I called EU, no, I called already, you know that, but nevertheless, we should have a better situation with our friends. Here, let's see how many EU flags I will see, how many NATO flags I will see. I think I will see a number of them, but maybe not enough. The situation is Croatia had this kind of special status in the hearts of the Germans and the Austrians, and they carried this beautiful country in the European Union in 2013. It was not easy, but this is something Merkel did. She has deserved applause for that one, because she has done many things very slow, but some things she has done very good. So applause for that. That's probably the city municipality or some other administrative building. I see here, for example, in my little tour, just the Croatian flag, no NATO flag and no NATO flag and no EU flag. Something is wrong, and the Croatian authorities have also, the flag is not in very good condition. So, hello Croatia, can you fix that? In a NATO EU country, must be NATO, EU, Croatia. That's very important. But it's just a symbol, you know, that many things are not going so good here. I will probably make a photo about it, and I will make the statement that there should get done some kind of improvements here in Croatia, because it's not as European as I like it. Thanks a lot. Bye. More to come.